10I, Bill 34, adopting the 2011 Community Development Budget.
An ordinance of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, adopting the Community Development Budget for 2011. The appropriations are in the sum of $6,924,040. Section 2 lists the revenue sources. Section 3 is a repeal of Bill number 34, sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Nay.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
6-1 passes.
10J, Bill 35, adopting the 2011 911 Fund Budget.
An ordinance of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, adopting the 911 fund budget for 2011. The appropriations are in the sum of $3,510,000. Section 2 is a repeal of Bill number 35, is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Nay.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
6-1 passes.
10K, Bill 36, fixing the 2011 tax rate for all city purposes.
An ordinance of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the tax rate for all city purposes for the year 2011. The Council of the City of Bethlehem ordains in Section 1 that a tax be paid and is hereby levied on all persons and real property within the city, subject to taxation for city purposes for the fiscal year. The general, 8.42 mils, recreation, 0.91 mils, debt, 3.00 mils, landfill debt, 0.40 mils, Hercal settlement debt, 0.50 mils, library, 0.87 mils. The total for all purposes is 14.10 mils. Section 2 is a repeal, or Section 3. This ordinance will take effect January 1st, 2011. Bill number 36 is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Nay.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
6-0 passes.
10L, Bill 37, amending Article 342, continuing LRTA through December 2012.
An ordinance of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Article 342 of the codified ordinances entitled Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Enterprise Development Area. The Council of the City of Bethlehem ordains that Section 342.06 of the codified ordinances, which reads termination, shall be amended as follows: that the ordinance shall terminate on December 31st, 2012. Section 2 is a repealer. Bill number 37 is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
7-0 passes.
10M, Bill 38, amending Article 1113, Food Code Regulations.
An ordinance of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Article 1113 of the codified ordinances entitled Food Code Regulation. The Council of the City of Bethlehem ordains that in Section 1135.05 for the inspection charges, they are increased as follows: establishments with 75 seats or less, $225 from $200; with more than 75 seats, $325 from $300. The establishments with 5,000 square feet or less, $225 from $200, and 5,000 square feet or more, $325 from $300. Section 2 is a repealer. Section 3, this ordinance shall become effective January 1st, 2011. Bill number 38 is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
7-0 passes.
10N, Bill 39, amending Article 1731, Inspections.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Bethlehem, Counties of Lehigh and Northampton, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Article 1731 of the codified ordinances entitled Inspections. The Council of the City of Bethlehem hereby ordains as follows, that Section 1731.01, inspections required, shall be amended in paragraph A to add a sentence regarding scheduling of inspections. B is amended regarding inspections of rentals. Paragraph C is added regarding inspections of fraternities and sororities. Paragraph D is amended in Section 2, Section 1731.02, fees is also amended to increase the fees per dwelling unit to $125 from $100, commercial unit $175 from $125, rental properties $75 from $55, and re-inspections $50 for the second, $75 for the third, and $100 for additional re-inspections. Also, fees are increased for commercial rental properties to $175, 2,000 square feet or less, and 2,000 square feet or more, $175 plus $75 for every additional 2,000 square feet. Also, a fee for fraternities and sororities. Section 3 is the repealer. Bill number 39 is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Ms. Dolan?
I'm not sure who should ask, but I'll just ask it of you. When I had read this over, overall I would say I'm in favor of the increase in fees. I like the idea of, we're tightening our belts, so go to the user of a service and they pay the fee. They might not even be a City of Bethlehem resident, especially in the case of landlords. Who's keeping up buildings that are being rented. But I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly. Does this mean that, from page 1 of 10N, that B, the sentence that reads, all residential rental properties shall be inspected for purposes of ascertaining compliance with city codes each time the dwelling becomes vacant after 1 year of occupancy and use, is cut and not replaced?
I believe that's correct. Mr. Riker?
That's probably a question for legal. I didn't put this ordinance together.
Mr. Spur?
I apologize.
Do you want- yeah, I just, I'm looking at item 10N. I guess that's how it's marked. It's bill number 39-2010.
We're looking at 1731B, Jack, 01B, where it's...
Okay, that's section 173101 of the codified ordinances regarding inspections required.
I believe it's been taken out, that's why it's stricken. That's your question, right?
But that is not, I guess I have a further, if that's the case. Yeah, yeah. Something I did. Maybe even something.
Mr. Mayor, comment?
Did you, we'll have to get back to you on that, if that's okay.
As I was, but since we're supposed to, we're voting on this evening, should we, would it be appropriate to entertain a motion to table?
I don't see any difficulty with
We'll just-
making a motion to
So
table.
that's fine. We're in the same way that you voted, in essence, without prejudice for the budget. This requires a second reading,
That's true.
so we could address your question.
Oh, you're right.
What we could do, Ms. Dolan, is we could, again, vote on it and then have a response from the administration in 2 weeks, and then have the final vote in 2 weeks.
And all these fees are going to be addressed at a committee meeting.
At a finance meeting that will be announcing, correct?
And as I stated at the beginning, I don't have a problem with the fees. That's not the issue. To me, the issue is in cutting back on our spending, are we codifying how we're going to inspect in the future? And is that the right direction to go? And I think it's worth discussing. So my other question would be, if we get an answer, and the answer is of a significant enough magnitude, by my justification as the chair of the committee, the CD committee, could that possibly be added to what we're already looking at, I think in a week or so?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
yes.
Did you have another question?
No, that's it, that's it.
Oh,
That's it.
Mr. Reynolds?
I was just going to ask Councilman Dolan, or just kind of comment on it, where it says, the part that was stricken, it says, all residential rental properties shall be inspected for purposes of ascertaining compliance with city codes each time the dwelling becomes vacant after 1 year of occupancy and use. I think that part is replaced with every dwelling, commercial unit, and structure that as a rental shall be inspected for purposes of ascertaining compliance with city codes each time the unit becomes vacant.
That's
What I was,
correct.
okay.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Seems that just for.
Yeah. It just,
And it just moved a little bit.
it just moved and
Okay.
expanded what
That
they,
was what I was wondering, because it seemed like for an ordinance that was predominantly related to fees,
It
that it
just
was
kinda
making sort of
expanded.
a sea change if we were
Right.
going to get, if we were actually also going to change where to do, thank you very much for pointing that out. I read through it twice and I didn't see that, so I appreciate it. I don't think I really need much more clarification at this point.
Thank you, thank you. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky. Aye. Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
7-0 passes.
10-0, Bill 40, Article 1733, adoption of 2009 ICC International Property Maintenance Code. Bill 40.
An ordinance adopting the 2009 ICC International Property Maintenance Code together with additions, deletions, and modifications as noted, providing penalties for violations thereof, repealing all ordinances inconsistent herewith. The Council of the City of Bethlehem ordains that Section 1733.01 of the codified ordinances be amended to read as follows: adoption, and that is the adoption of the 2009 International Property Maintenance Code with the deletions and amendments as listed in Section 2. Section 3 is a repealer. Bill number 40 is sponsored by Eric Evans and J. William Reynolds.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky. Aye. Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donches.
Aye.
7-0 pass.